Hey guys, my name is Will, and today I'll be talking to you about the duck stamp. Um, Many people might think it's just a stamp with a duck on it, that's true, but every year there's actually a contest held for it, and a lot of that money that goes to buying the duck stamp goes towards conservation and back to wetlands and protecting waterfowl and their habitats. But I'll get more into that in a little bit. So every year, what basically like the what a lot of people know the duck stand for is if you hunt ducks or waterfowl, you have to buy one if you're 16 years or older. So it costs $25, and 98% of that $25 goes towards protecting ducks, waterfowl, geese, any type of migratory game bird, shorebirds, anything that really uses wetlands and marshes, things like that. So the duck stamp was created in 1934, according to the U.S. National Fish and Wildlife Service, which is the main director in the duck stamp. They have the most control and power in it. Um, since 1934, over $1.2 billion has been raised to save waterfowl habitat and wetlands. So since 1934, 6 million acres of wetlands habitat has been saved thanks to the duck stamp and the funds that have been purchased through the duck stamp. Congress and Franklin D. Roosevelt passed this law in 1934 due to just like the progression and the processing, and then like just what Franklin Roosevelt saw happening to wetlands, just how everyone was just kind of developing it and turning it into something to like industrialize it, or just not there wasn't enough protection for wetlands or migratory birds at the time. So thanks to this act, we have something to give us funds for that cause, and just to help out protecting wetlands, which is very important not only for waterfowl and migratory birds, but ecosystems and many other species that use wetlands. It's a very biodiverse area and ecosystem that's very important to the function of many different communities. Um, so some interesting facts that I found: in 1949, the duck stamp contest was open to any U.S. artist who wished to enter, and it's one of the only contests of its kind to be funded by the government. So this kind of is like anyone could be in the duck stamp contest. So you just have to submit your art and what you wanted to be on the duck stamp by a certain date, which is pretty cool. This kind of reminds me back to we're talking about Yellowstone and then just how the idea of it being American. I think that the duck stamp is something very unique to being American. At first I thought it was, pretty like American to think about hunting and things like that, but just to think about the history and what it's done, I think it's what like it reminds me of like the national parks, like all of this land that all the money that protects these lands of wetlands and things are open to anyone. It's public land, and that's where like all of our tax money goes and things like that to protect these public lands. These documents, not documents, but these bills and everything were signed with the intention to for the intention for us the intention to be protected for us to use. So yeah, when I was reading more about this, it was kind of clicked into my head that this is really American in a sense, to where this is our land and it's our duty to protect it, because if we don't, no one else is. So it's pretty cool that the waterfowl hunting community and everybody else that purchased duck stamps is still doing it, and it's raised so much money. It's also one of the biggest success stories in conservation history. But some not recent, but some kind of big milestones since the duck stamp's been around. Um, in 2014, actually, the Obama administration changed the price of the duck stamp. So many people probably think, why would he change the price of the duck stamp? Well, since 1991, it only costed $15, and everyone knows that with when time goes on, just everything seems to get more expensive. So that $15 wasn't doing as much in the 90s as it was in the 2000s. So President Obama and his administration changed the duck stamp from $15 to $25, which is the cost of it now. I do have a lot of duck stamps in front of me right now. I've had some from 2018 all up till this year. So this was the most earliest one I've had. So you can see this is what it looks like. If you guys can see that, there's the $25, and this is the artwork on the duck stamp. This is actually a wood duck. And then it kind of, on the back of it, it tells you, it just kind of gives you a history of what it is. There's the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service logo, which is really, like, they're the ones who run everything. And then here are just some more recent ones. So this was 2022 to 2023. You have to have your signature on it to be valid if you are hunting. And then a lot of people collect these duck stamps. That's another thing. According to Ducks Unlimited, 25% of stamps are purchased by non-hunters. And that's also really cool about the duck stamp is a lot of bird watchers and folks that just enjoy nature are out there collecting duck stamps. This is actually the most recent one. This was from last year. That's a northern pintail, but this is actually probably one of my favorite ones to this date. And then as you can see here, like, that's not a duck, but it's a shorebird. I believe it's a sandpiper. It just always kind of gives you something on the back that just makes you feel good about buying a stamp. And actually right there, it tells you about the e-stamp ordering and all just kind of the progress that the duck stamps have made throughout the history since the duck stamp. So yeah, I got a bunch of duck stamps. I think they're really cool. I'm not someone who enjoys spending money on stuff, but I do enjoy buying the duck stamp every year. Another thing is in that 2023, the Biden administration allowed it, so you were able to purchase a duck stamp online and be able to use that duck stamp throughout the duck hunting season, because it's valid from whenever you buy it till June 30th of that next year. So it goes from, like, for example, so if I bought it in October of 2024, it's valid till this year, like this month. So it's like, that's pretty cool, because before it would only be valid for 45 days and then you'd have to get the physical copy of the duck stamp, because a lot of these places, like where you buy a duck stamp, say like Bass Pro Shops, Cabela's, Big Five, Dick's Sporting Goods, a lot of these places sell out of duck stamps right away, and you'd have to go to the post office to buy a duck stamp, which I've done before. But yeah, so the Biden administration was made it so that you were able to buy it online and able to receive it in the mail. So that's also something that's pretty cool. There was a little bit of controversy in the duck stamp art competition. In 2021, the Biden administration aimed to change that. In 2019, Donald Trump's administration made it so that the 5 judges that were judging the duck stamp all had to have previous history or experience in waterfowl hunting, and a lot of artists did not like that because it kind of limited what they were aiming to do, because the duck stamp has never been something targeted towards waterfowl hunting. So they made it so that they wanted it targeted towards waterfowl hunting. So, but in 2023, the Biden administration changed that, and we can see here that that's been in effect. There's not a lot of, like, you would never be able to tell this was for hunting or anything like that. So that's something that's pretty cool. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to go over something that I mentioned earlier. The reading that we did in class, the Clark reading about our public lands and the management of them. It reminded me of the term transcendence, where we kind of all have the same, not experience, but when people identify themselves with a common symbol of authority, I think this is a great example of transcendence. No matter where you are in the United States, you could be in Alaska hunting up there, or you could be all the way in Arkansas hunting there. But um, the idea of transcendence through the duck stamp, I think, is something that's very valid and something that I think about. And that's, I think, why I like it so much is because no matter what, everyone has the duck stamp, and it kind of brings waterfowl hunters together. And not only waterfowl hunters, but the whole community that just is for conservation, which is something that's really important to me because I want these experiences to be around for other people to enjoy, not only just to hunt, but just to be able to feel like they're a part of something and just something like the legacy of the duck stamp. Um, One of the quotes from Clark's reading, Americans needed to share powerful experiences of their commonality. I think that, something as simple as the federal duck stamp just shows the powerfulness that we have as a community and as a nation to transcend to a common goal, which allows us not only to conserve, but to be able to share experiences for a lifetime and then to just keep something going since 1934. Like 9 years, it's going to be a decade, which I guarantee you this will still be around. I think is just shows you how powerful it is to have something like this. And then um, just the common, like, to have the one central idea of being able to share the duck stamp is something that I really enjoy, and is why not only just the conservation side and the part of me that enjoys um, like waterfowl and all that, but um, when doing this project and researching this, I realized, wow, like this is a lot deeper than just paying the $25 that you have to pay because it's a requirement. While doing this, I realized how important it was, and that by paying this $25, it lets me know in the future that this is still going to be around no matter what. So that to me is something that I really enjoy thinking about when I purchase one of these. And having all of these just shows like how America can transcend and how it's important. And what Clark is saying is so like true in different forms, not just national parks, but the duck stamp. And I'm sure there's other things out there that I don't know about that are very similar to this. But that kind of wraps up the duck stamp for me. I've thought about doing art and signing it and sending it in for maybe to be on the duck stamp, but for now I think I'll just collect them and buy them every year. Even if I wasn't hunting, I think I'd still buy one. But yeah, it's just pretty cool that these are around. And maybe if you want to have an extra $25 around, you'll buy the 2025, 2026 one. But yeah, thank you.